Welcome to another edition of Unhitched or Dad Trying. I'm the dad part, and here comes the monologue that we all know and love. Topic for this week. Throw me a topic. Give me a topic.
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk. Sounds like it's going to be a dumb movie. Something much like a role that Owen Wilson would play. And his name's Dunkirk. Except you find out at the very end in the spoiler that it's the sequel to Drillbit Taylor, in which he goes by the name Dunkirk and follows these kids to college. So now it's actually at the appropriate age in which Owen Wilson can start beating up children and not getting in as much trouble as he was when he was beating up them little kids. So Dunkirk. No, Dunkirk was a great movie. I loved it. I love film. I love all things cinema, everything from the very close together urinals at the Alamo Draft House in Stone Oak in San Antonio to the nice little doors that they have leading into the theater that the little waiters and waitresses can use their feet to get them themselves. And so it's really awkward when you really want to be a gentleman to a person and trying to open the door for a waiter, trying to carry in some drinks. And then she's going for the actual footrest on the door to open it herself. And you suddenly realize you're just trying to get it. You're just in the way. She doesn't need you. She wants to just flat out shoot your chivalry dead.
She's a modern woman.
Yeah, she's much like Tom Hardy in Dunkirk, shooting down all those planes. And gosh darn it. Oh, I guess that's a spoiler right there. He does shoot down some planes.
Well, that's going to happen.
Yeah, when you fly planes, you're going to shoot some down. That's just, they tell you that day one in flight school.
I've never seen
Amy, this is a monologue.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done with it. I thought we were talking now. Okay, go ahead.
We can talk now. Monologue over. So, what was your question? Rather,
I was just going to mention that I've never seen Drillbit Taylor, so I have no reference for that movie.
Sure.
But the whole time you were talking about it, I was completely tuning you out and picturing Owen Wilson in the lead role of Dunkirk, which was just playing in my mind, in the cinema of my mind, which was beautiful and horrible in this clash of imagination and just what shouldn't be. Describe
the scene and setting and the action. What is Drillbit Wilson doing?
We can't go back.
He can't go back. So
he doesn't want to go back.
So is this like Back to the Future? Like is it like the?
No, he's like in the Cillian Murphy role.
Oh, he's in a yes. Okay, understandable. Gotcha. That would be great if the person driving the boat in that, and this is very spoilers heavy. This isn't crucial to the plot, but it would be really funny if the person driving the boat, in which Cillian Murphy was like, "We can't go back." The guy is just like, "Oh, but we can," and he flips his flux capacitor on, and they go back in time and kill baby Hitler.
Oh, that would have been
very
movie.
Interesting. Do you think Cillian Murphy would be like, "Oh, I guess we can. This is fine"?
He would have no problem killing baby Hitler because he seems like a pragmatic type of person.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. In real life, and especially in this role.
Well, I've been watching Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders. the lovable Netflix show in which a kind of a goofy gang of handymen try to put up blinders and peek through them. Essentially, it's goofy. So they're like peeking at the pool boy, or pool girl, whichever's out there, and they're like, "Ooh, check it out! Not using the right chemicals back there. How sexy!" But then they finish the job and they do it well, and they get a great rating on that. What is that contractor? What is this? They get a good rating as a contractor
like on Angie's
group,
List?
right? Angie's List.
Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
I love that show.
That's a great show, isn't it? I really. Wait, can we stop a second?
Yeah.
Is that actually a show?
No.
I felt like for a split second.
No, I mean, you made me believe, but no.
Now, it sounds like it would be a PBS show because it sounds really boring, and it's about like two hosts, much like your host of it's Mary and Paul, and they essentially they're going around, and it's a bunch of contractors, and they're all sitting at their workbenches and saying, okay, this week we're going to have to install some PVC pipe leading to the toilets.
Honestly, I would watch that.
That would be great. They'd be even better because Mary and Paul don't know a lick about contracting. Paul just comes up, sticks his finger in it, tastes the plastic cement, and he's like, I don't think this is setting quite right. It's not, it's a bit wobbly. You see it's got a bit wobble. And he spits it out into a napkin and flings it at the other person's face.
Yeah.
And then Mary would be like, I like this pipe that you put together. Good job. Very good. Where's my whiskey? I drink whiskey. I love alcohol. I'm going to use this as a bong to drink my alcohol. Wink, wink. And then, as you put it, tongue.
Yeah. A little bit of tongue.
Classic Mary Berry.
No, we are talking about Great British Bake Off.
Oh, yeah.
Judges.
Right.
Which you didn't mention, but probably most people know, I hope.
I pray, every night when I lay my little one down to sleep, and I pray the Lord her soul to keep, I also pray that all our friends and with all our might, will fly with dragons in a cool land tonight, and that's Dragon Tales. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it had something to do with Great British Bake Off.
But I kind of tied it around full circle because Dragon Tales is a PBS show, much like Great British Bake Show.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of tied that knot. It's a little loose. We might trip over it later. But do you remember Dragon Tales?
No.
It was like two kids that like were being escorted. They would I don't even know how they ended up in the land of dragons. I don't know. It was just weird. But I would love to see a Game of Thrones Dragon Tales crossover where Daenerys comes in and she's like the slave owner of these dragons. No, that's just, I don't want to see that. Never mind.
I'm open to it.
So you're open to slavery. Okay,
well,
that's
just
great.
the show. I mean, I'm not pro-slavery, but I'd watch that show.
But just Game of Dragons Tales?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's favorite part of Game of Thrones is the dragons, right? And Daenerys.
Oh, absolutely.
Obviously.
Emphasis more on dragons, but Daenerys is fine. I
really like her braids and all of her different hairstyles and ringlets. So
they're good. Is that your ultimate favorite part of the show?
No, but it's up there.
I mean, dragons are like top one, and then White Walkers and Jon Snow.
I mean, yeah.
Hey. Is Jon Snow and Daenerys, are they going to like...
I feel like that's going to happen because it's like, tying those two
do we? Well, hold
together.
on. No spoilers. Yeah. But can we just put it out there? Do we want to see that?
Oh, I don't know. It's a
Not
little
like
bit too
see
easy.
It, like, because I feel like Game of Shones will actually show us if we ask for it. Game of Shows. And... I'm not ready. I'm definitely not ready for that, but I don't think I'm ready for that.
No, it would really tie it up in a nice, neat bow, which is a little bit upsetting in a way.
Yeah.
It's like a very easy, obvious choice at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, but still, it makes sense. So
and
I like them, so I'm kind of for it also.
I want Daenerys. I want the group of suitors. I want this like line. I want her to... Well, you know what? I think I do want it, but I really want a hard to get game. Like she's got to hold those cards close to the breast, and I'm sure they would show that too. But I really don't want her. I don't want her fishing. I want her to play as hard to get as possible. I want her skin to be like dragon scales, impenetrable, and. I mean, not that I want Jon Snow to penetrate her, but I do. I want it to be a game, perhaps even a game of approaching that throne that is Daenerys. And so, anyway, this has been fun for our listeners. This is great. This is what happens when your host quits. Did she quit? I can't remember.
Who knows?
No,
I mean she didn't.
Well, here, let me explain. For the listener, this week, Lauren is out. And that's all we really know. She may be back next week. She may not. It may be 2 weeks.
She's a busy bee.
She's a busy bee. She's buzzing around, getting up in bonnets, pollinating people, and bee stuff. Like wagging her bee butt and saying, hey, because that's how bees speak, right?
They dance.
They dance with their butts.
Right.
And so Lauren's about town wagging her bee butt and then doing that, making conversations, making eyes at everyone. I mean, we could really say whatever we want to in this space because what's she going to do?
Nothing.
That's right. This emptiness means nothing. So, with that being said, Amy and I collectively decided that we're going to do a best of. Lauren wanted us to explain why she's gone this week, and we're not actually going to explain. We're just going to go back to your top favorites from our first 5 episodes, as you probably have guessed from the title of this podcast, that we're looking at the best of episodes 1 through 5. I really, really want our listeners to know that if you've never listened to the podcast, good for you. You found a great place to start. Especially when half of the parties are actually here. I really, really do not like our first 5 episodes. They were fine. In fact, the 5th episode was probably my first favorite. But episodes 1 through 5, Amy, how did you feel about them?
Ooh,
you said it right there. It was rough.
Iffy.
It was iffy. We didn't even know the name of the podcast. Then what? Do you even remember the name of our podcast from episode 1?
I remember you saying it was Get Hitched or Dad Trying, which I took issue with because neither of y'all were trying actively to get hitched. Although maybe Lauren in a little bit, but not completely.
Well, I was Dad Trying, and Lauren was
right.
Getting Hitched. Because we were going to marry her off before the end of the podcast.
Oh, okay. So why did you change it?
I don't know. Still don't know. It's a bit of a mystery. We'll never really figure it out. We just decided that Lauren is currently in a state of being unhitched.
Yeah.
And we also really love that 50 Cent movie, too. So we're like, okay, this is a state of being for Lauren, whereas the movie calls you to this action of, getting rich. And in the same way, the first episode, we're like, get hitched. And so, like, Lauren's pretty chill. And so, like, if someone told me, hey, you get rich, I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I'm in the state of not being rich. And so, likewise, we decided Unhitched or Dad Trying. Of course, I had a call of action to me. It was like, you dad, you try.
Well, you do have to try.
And I do a great job of trying.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. We are trying today some Robert Mondavi Napa Valley Fumant Blanc. This is one of those things you do when you go to Whole Foods, and I know Whole Foods is not a good place to buy wine because it's super expensive. And I just did that thing where I looked on it and ended up picking our wine selection based off the label, which is not a great label.
No.
But it was on sale. So,
hey.
But it's not too bad. It goes great with our Oreo maple cookies that we have. So Lauren's missing out. And anyway, I probably will cut all this out from the podcast.
Probably for the best.
It probably should. So essentially, we'll be looking at the hits. And I really want to go into my 90s radio DJ voice. We're going to be taking you through the hits of episodes 1 through 5, starting with episode 1. Amy, do you remember our episode 1 topic?
Oh, it was going to Target?
Winner. And we did have chicken for dinner. Is that correct?
Probably.
Well, I had beef, you had chicken, so kind of. So you're half correct. Never mind. You are correct. You get half of the prize. So, I guess we as a family get half of the prize because we as a family, you got half of the chicken and I got beef in my burrito. So it's kind of like, and really burritos aren't a chicken dinner per se. So I really feel like we got 1/4 of the chicken dinner prize.
Yeah, and I gave some of my chicken to Luna. So how does that affect the fractions?
Subtract like 1/4 from 1/4.
Ooh, so 0?
Yeah, I think that's it. why don't we just jump right into, we're not doing segments or anything like that, although I do think we touch back into confessionals and a few dumb things in these clips. We looked through some of these clips last night. So, a lot of it's dumb. And I really want to encourage you, once again, please, for the love of Neil deGrasse Tyson, do not listen to episodes 1 through 5. Just
you're gonna
stay
listen
here.
to these little bits, and you're going to be like, oh, hilarious. I need to go back and listen to that.
And then you're going to go back, and you're going to be like, we shouldn't have gone back. And you go back to Dunkirk, and you effing get your face blown off.
That's, I mean...
Is that a spoiler?
No, not really.
Well,
or is it?
Or is it? Find out when you go to the movies. Let's just jump into it.
Okay.
I feel like I should make like a whooshing sound or something so we know when the cut's going to start. That's like a soft whoosh. It seems like you're a child trying to blow out a birthday cake, which I think actually works. That's how you put out a birthday cake? You're a child. You're turning 4. How do you blow out those candles? Okay, that works. All right, so when I say count to 3, give us that wonderful sound bit. 1, 2, 3.
A ding dong boom bang, something new.
Was that the doorbell?
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
Apparently it was a doorbell jingle.
Okay. You're like, hey, there's something new at the door for me.
What can it be?
Well, I'll let you start us off. Tell us something new.
Something new.
What's new?
What's new? Oh, so something I found out today.
Uh-oh.
Before I came over here. So
Oh.
right now we're actually at Cameron and Amy's house, and I came from work and I brought dinner with me, but I had to stop and get dinner because I didn't have it with me. So I found a little place that had Thai food because I was craving some curry. And I get the craving for the curry all the time. So I go in, or I set my little Google Maps because I don't know this place. I've never been to this place. It was on the way from my work to your home, and I've never taken that route before. Route?
Route.
Oh, internet. I've never taken that way before. So I had to type it in. And when I finally got there, the Google Maps lady, she's like, turn right for Bangkokin. The restaurant was called Bangkok Inn. And she just kept going, you've now arrived at Bangkokin.
So somewhere along the way, and Bangkok is you would think that Google or Maps or Siri or someone would have recorded country names, you know?
City names.
Oh yeah,
You got there.
sure.
Well, it's two separate
I arrived
words.
at Bangkokin.
Bangkokin.
I
She
got
was
there.
Bangkokin. And it just made me laugh the whole time I was inside there. I was just waiting on my curry. And I just kept saying to myself, Bangkokin. Anyway.
And the lady was just like, oh.
I wasn't saying it out loud. I've learned to stop doing that.
Yes.
Finally, 28 years.
Wow, what a clip. Wasn't that something?
What a classic moment.
She was talking about just, there's literally no way we can commentate on this. Just enjoy it as it is, right?
Sure, it's fun.
It's fun. You're
Great
having
story,
fun.
Lauren.
Thank you, Lauren, for those bits. Just funny, real funny. This is so ingenuine. This just sounds like I'm really just grinding her in the dirt. But you know what? She's just getting in all sorts of goofs these days, isn't she?
Well, she's funnier now than she was then.
Why do you say that? I don't think she's changed at all.
Well, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but thankfully our podcast has changed, which is so good. Because it really, to be honest, recording this thing and doing that, and if I really could have my way, I would go through, delete these episodes Yeah,
I just want to say that was not a horrible clip, but just the fact that that was the best moment you could find in that episode is like a little bit tough.
I mean, best moment that I could find within about an hour span of time, because I'm not going through and re-listening to all of these podcasts again.
Okay, yeah.
It's I just can't. I would hurt my soul a little bit. But the goofs get better.
Let's move on.
So moving on to clip number 2. So in clip number 2, to give you a little backstory, which we didn't do with the first clip, sorry. Anyway, so episode 2, Amy. This is just going to be a lame series of quizzes in which I ask you, what was the title of episode 2?
Was it geocaching?
Yeah, geocaching.
Oh, wow.
Now, you actually went out and geocached with me, right?
Yeah.
And corrected me the entire time we were doing it.
Well, y'all did not have it clear how you should pronounce that word, which is the title of your podcast.
And we still don't need to. You say potato, I say caching, and that's perfectly fine. What was your favorite thing of actually going out and geocaching with me and little Ellie? Probably 2 months old at the time.
I feel like we got maybe ice cream afterwards.
So that was pretty good for you?
Yeah.
That's the best geocache of them all. So in this clip here, we actually start with the intro here, in which I make a little social slip up, and it's preceded by our lovely intro that I put together through literally mashing buttons on my iPhone GarageBand and then recording them through an auxiliary cord into my computer. That's how I made that jingle.
It was so good.
It was a great jingle, but then Brett Landrum, our good friend Brett, I think I could say his last name. Not that many people listen to this. Brett Landrum, who lives in Highland Hills. Yeah, he lives in Highland Hills. I'll go ahead. If you can find him, good luck. He essentially just whipped up, and I think in a matter of a couple days, 3 of our jingles, including our intro, in which Lauren and I were very glad to toss my GarageBand jingle in the trash.
Did you find that insulting?
What's that?
That he listened to your jingle and he was like,
no, I listened to my jingle and said, do better. And he was like, I can do. And I was like, great. So for, again, you'll get a sneak peek of, again, how bad it was. But it gets so much better. I really should not be. I feel like I'm dogging on my own podcast a little too much.
Yeah. Why don't we just roll that beautiful bean footage?
Okay. Send it away.
Hey everybody, this is Unhitched or Dad Trying. We've got the man over here who really likes a nice fine-tipped pen. He refuses to use one of those ballpoint pens. Those are for suckers. We got Cameron Carter.
Hi.
Hey.
Fine tips, beware at it. Beware it's at.
And I'm Lauren Neat.
Hi, Lauren.
Hey, Cam.
Oh, man.
Great start already.
Number 2.
The second podcast.
What do you think of... Okay, I know what you thought about the first podcast and us having a podcast, but what do you think about number 2?
Trying to keep it together. I have the sense of humor of a 4th grade boy, so number 2 is going well. Mm-hmm. It's not uncomfortable at all. It's smooth.
Oh, what another tasty delight.
So did you just start listening to this podcast and choose like the first 5 minutes?
Again, I put these together in an hour. And I was like, this is funny. But I also realized this is really short. Not a very good preview of the podcast. So I decided to not include any parts in which we talked about geocaching and instead choose parts in which Lauren and I make fun of pooping and peeing.
Oh, that's too bad because I remember this being a pretty good episode, actually.
Actually, of episodes 2 and 5, if you are in an airport and you're flying Spirit Airlines and your flight's delayed a couple days, 4th day, you probably should listen to those too. Sound about right?
Day 2.
Day 2? Oh,
yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
There's something really hilarious about when somebody just jumbles up their words. That's always fun. And then it's just also really satisfying when she finally says smooth.
Yeah.
You're waiting for it and she says it and it just feels right.
You kind of want her to get there because you want it. You want someone to do it. Like, it would be great if... let's be honest here. Okay? How awesome would it be if people in our office places... And you just got a new job, so you've been working over the summer, so what if you just said pee-pee and poo-poo and just talked about toilet humor in the day-to-day? Like your coworker comes up to you and is like, hey, Amy, just took a nice dump in the kids' room. No kids here this summer. You want to check it out? Or like, I don't know how teachers would joke about that.
I don't know. I probably would try to get out of that situation as quickly as I could.
Okay, so I'm blocking the door. How do you get out of this conversation?
I guess I say, sure, go ahead and show me.
Oh, okay.
You just check it out and you get out.
So you just shake your head and you go do it real quick. And
you just do it.
You just do it? No.
Yeah, you just do it. I mean, maybe it'll be interesting.
Hey, Amy, should we go into our next clip?
Yeah.
Okay. You set it up. Wait, hold on a second.
Okay.
Retract it. Suck it back in. Okay, thank you. Wait, there's still a little left. Okay, good. This next clip is from our, you guessed it, 3rd episode, second take. We did not release our first take of the Halloween Parties episode.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was listening to the original cut of the Halloween episode, which we may one day release. I thought it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Lauren isn't here. I don't...
Go ahead and play the whole thing.
Okay, let's play it. Oh, no, we're not going to play it. But this is from the second take, the actual release version. And in this clip, we learn a little bit about going to the dentist. And we also learn that Cameron was not so good at messing with the volume. I tried to correct this in post, or I will, for this podcast, but you can only do so much when your volume knob for recording was only turned up so high. I don't know why I'm telling you this like I'm an announcer at the rodeo. Next up, sheep and kids. That one you like where the kids chase the sheep and it's really dangerous.
Yeah, I love it.
What is that called?
Mutton bustin'.
Mutton bustin'. That would be a great topic.
Ooh, I'm not doing it though.
You're not. You don't want to button must.
We could get my cousin Cheyenne on the show.
Well, that would be great.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is episode 3, Halloween Parties. Is it?
So yes, I truly do. If I shower once a day, I shouldn't be so amazed. But I am.
And that leads me to our next topic for this week, showering.
Gosh.
Oh, man. That would just be that would be us like at the bottom of the slope here. We started out so high and like 3rd week in. Showering.
Next week, brushing your teeth. Do you start with the top or the bottom?
That's actually, we could probably do a podcast on brushing your teeth.
I mean, my mom is an orthodontist, so I've got a lot of
Oh my gosh, the perfect guest to have on the podcast.
Dr. Neat, welcome. She'll tell us all about proper teeth hygiene.
Oh, but is that her job? She's an orthodontist.
Mm-hmm. But
she's not a dentist.
A little known fact. Well,
it seems like I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I'll go. It seems like she would be so above that. She's like, I see it when it's really bad. Like, I don't know. I don't know about being an orthodontist versus a dentist.
Like if there's like some seriously weird,
right,
like anger between the two practices.
Right. Like the orthodontist just all hot-headed and just like, I don't educate. Like they're the hot shots that pull up in the brand new Teslas and like has valet parking outside of their, small little office orthodontist space and just like
throw the keys at some valet.
Hey, like not at the valet, throw it near the valet so the valet has to go run and fetch them.
Oh my gosh. You are describing my mother
That's
to
her.
a T.
Oh man, I've met her a couple times.
No,
That's pretty much
just like it.
Not even going to defend her. No,
she's not at all. But the truth is, to be an orthodontist, you have to be a dentist first, technically.
I didn't know that.
Well, because you go through dental school, and then after that, you move on to orthodontic specialty school.
I thought that was just because the orthodontic school was located so close to the dentist school, and you have to go through that to get to the orthodontist school.
Like you have to walk through the breezeway.
That's exactly what you meant.
Yep.
Oh, goodness. I love that none of these clips have anything to do with the topic at hand.
I already forgot what our topic was.
Halloween parties.
Oh, yeah.
So in this episode, Lauren and I both actually, in a couple of our episodes, as you know, we sometimes do the topic together. Like we'll in this case, we went to the same Halloween party, although I guess this isn't exactly true because Lauren ditched her very own Halloween party she put on to go to another Halloween party.
So true.
How did that make you feel, Amy?
Like it was time to go.
And it was, and we left, and we showed off our outfits to a bunch of people that we did not know. I had a lot of people say and I still remember this. I'm still a little hurt by it. I was dressed up as dead Han Solo, or recent lightsaber wound Han Solo. No one got it. They're just like, "Oh, are you a zombie?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm a zombie that got barrel shot in the chest." Like, still mad about it. I'm bitter. What can I say? Other than I like that bit where we were talking about the dentist. That was funny.
I liked the valet bit. I was chuckling.
You were laughing.
You
scooted your chair
despite
out.
Despite my own self, despite myself.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed the breezeway bit where you were really trying to make that joke hit and connect.
Right.
And you got there.
I got there. I always get there. And as we know in jokes, it doesn't really matter the time of when you land that bit. It's just that take your time with it. Make sure it's a good landing. It's a nice, safe, smooth landing. And that's the key to comedy, right?
Uh-huh.
Is it time for bed?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So one of my other things that I've noticed that I still cannot seem to stop doing, in fact, did right before the actual clip, is suggesting another topic that's a little out there that Lauren and I probably won't ever do.
Oh, like showering?
Yeah, showering and mutton busting.
Oh, yeah.
Although
I would listen to both of those episodes, to be honest.
Really? Which would you prefer?
I mean, mutton busting would be more fun, but I'm curious to hear about Lauren's products, what she uses in the shower. Your experience as a man is so foreign to me.
Can I stop you there?
Okay.
Are you?
Mildly curious?
Okay. Amy, I think it's about time to move on to that
yeah.
next juicy piece of...
Piece of what?
Juicy fruit.
Oh.
Okay. Take it away. It gets so complex, and you really get into these robots, and you're trying to figure out if they're becoming self-aware or not. Basically, they'll take them out of the park every once in a while and kind of do these psychological assessments with the robots. And apparently, one of my favorite things here is Anthony Hopkins plays really one of the, I think, CEOs of the park, or chief operating officer, what have you. He was one of the, and you don't even really know. There's so much mystery surrounding this. He was one of the original creators, or he had a big hand in really kind of making the park what it is currently. And it's about 30 years in the future after the movie, where the robots, just really malfunction, and they refer to the movie as the incident, or blah, blah, blah. And so, but then you have Anthony Hopkins' character, who's you have no idea what's his end game. And so he's trying to create all these stories so you interact with people.
Can I guess really quick?
Yes.
I think he's trying to make himself a girlfriend.
Oh.
That's the whole point.
Oh, man. You have no
what
idea.
What if that's the
You have
end?
no idea how much they touch on that topic. It's just...
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Okay, sorry. Go on.
No, but he... That'd be pretty lame ending.
I know.
five seasons later, when they end it, it's just finally made my girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like,
spot.
yes, I will go out with you. And then the show's over. Can I also confess something?
Yes. Oh, our segment, Confessions.
Yeah. To this, we have now touched on my 3 biggest fears in life.
Mm-hmm. Xenomorph
aliens.
baby, aliens, yes.
Yes. You touched on Jurassic Park earlier, dinosaurs. And now we're talking about robots. My 3
very rational
biggest
fears in life.
I know. I live a very charmed
Loneliness,
life.
isolation.
No. Dinosaurs, robots, and aliens.
So would you actually like loosely, because I remember growing up, I had this legitimate belief that aliens were like real and that robots could come and kill me.
I mean, I vividly remember nightmares about aliens and dinosaurs and robots.
Oh, man. Let me tell you about this one reoccurring nightmare I used to have. As a child, I used to watch Captain Kangaroo, old show. I barely remember it, but there was one puppet on there that stuck in my brain. I don't remember what it was, but it was one of these little memories, and I just kind of latched onto it. And it was kind of a dinosaur giraffe type thing. I don't remember what it was.
Stegosaurus?
Sure. In my mind, I created this monster as a child called Cece a Goo Goo Gaga. And Cece
sounds like Kenyan.
Cece a Goo Goo Gaga would live behind the dryer immediately adjacent to my bedroom. And so there was also a bathroom that the bathroom would share. It was the washer dryer were in the same room as the bathroom. There was a bathroom, and this thing would, in my dreams and nightmares, would always pop his head up. Like I'd be in the bathroom pooping or peeing, doesn't matter what I'm doing, and this thing would pop up and just go and like chase me around the house.
Well, probably because you were pooping and peeing in his home.
Hey, it's so in here, kid. I don't know what it was, but it was probably, if you look at a pie chart of like dreams, as even to this day, I would say most of the pie would be CCO Goo Goo Gaga dreams. I haven't had one in a couple of years.
You will tonight.
Which is good. Oh gosh.
He's coming home.
Oh man, but it's one of those running dreams where you start running and you're like, I can't go fast enough, and you're starting to just like
yeah.
And then it gets you, and then you wake up. It's like classic nightmare dream.
I feel ya.
Anyway, he was a dinosaur. So, dinosaur giraffe with crazy eyes. And he would eat you. I didn't mean to spook anyone out there. Let me just.
These are really scary things.
So, Westworld, watch it.
Okay.
Truly the things of my nightmares. Even to this day, I think I have nightmares, anticipation of that dream itself.
Yeah, that is a classic Cam story that never gets old for me. I truly enjoy it, and I'm sorry to say, I have a lot of fun listening to that story that brings you a lot of pain.
One of these days, I'm going to draw for you what CC Aguga looks like, and it's gonna like do that thing on Mission Impossible where they have those little bombs in people's brains, and like they just get exploded, and then like the character just kind of shuts off, just like like that's what's gonna happen. I don't want to kill you, but
Ooh, sounds like you do.
No.
I hope that you draw it for me, and I just instantly turn into a silvery puddle like Alex Mack.
Oh, what is that? Where does that come from? Why?
That's just my hope.
Oh, okay. Completely unrelated? Are you just trying to say you just unrelated wish
No, I think that like the shock could just melt me into a puddle.
Okay.
And the fear.
In the fear.
Yeah.
Much like
I feel like she was motivated by fear. It was in moments when she was very stressed and afraid that she would.
So was that like a super like what? So can we talk about her for a second? Because I've only ever watched the previews, and then I would watch my,
That's too bad.
Watch my favorites such as Kablam, and then that show would come on, and I would be like, oh, I'm like Kablam Mac, hey Mac Woo, and I would be like, oh goodness. And then, like Mac's coming up here. I know that because that nifty rhyme Nickelodeon told me I gotta shut this down. And I never watched it. So I picture, is she a Crime Stopper?
She is a detective of sorts, which is right up my alley.
Well, then who's Shelby Woo?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, never mind. I feel like, so kids crime, like that. Have you noticed there are any kids, like real life crime detective shows anymore?
Yeah, that's interesting because that was very much a huge part of my childhood. I was a big fan of Olsen and Olsen Detective Agency videos.
Sure. Did you like that Rosie O'Donnell movie with that girl?
Yes.
Shelby the Spy.
No.
What is it called?
Harriet the Spy.
And what was Rosie O'Donnell's role in that anyway? That was a Nickelodeon thing too, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And she got slimed on in the end, right?
I don't believe so.
Rosie O'Donnell always gets the slime. If it wasn't animated and the words weren't coming out of, multiple drawings of cartoons. What I'm trying to say is cartoons. If it wasn't a cartoon, I wasn't watching it on Nickelodeon.
Oh man, did you ever see As Told by Ginger?
I did.
That was a very girl-targeted cartoon that was my favorite.
And it's also up there and being the things of my nightmares. So real quick here, we have just one more clip for you from episode 5. And we all know, for whatever reason, our most popular episode
To date? Wow.
is Brunch with Cheney.
Oh, Cheney's popular.
Cheney is popular, but I also think it just had to do with my nifty keywords that I put in on the iTunes title.
Yeah, I mean, she's not that popular.
I mean, she's like popular. Okay.
So I'm gonna dig back deep in the past at one of my best. Okay, are you ready for this?
Right.
We're digging.
Wayne's World.
We're digging
Anyone?
to unemployment
Good.
of Cheney, circa 2011. She's working at country club front desk. Guy calls in. He says, "Hey, what's going on with what's the skinny with bingo tonight?" I start scurrying for my paper on bingo tonight. I'm like, okay, what are the facts? I found my little sheet, my cheat sheet. I'm like, okay, bingo starts at 6 p.m. and at 7 p.m. I see this word. It looks French to me. I'm like, shoot, how do you say this word? Like, at 7 p.m., this is going to be served. What's this called? Oh, I can't come up with it. Out of my mouth comes, hors d'oeuvres are served at 7 p.m. And this guy's like, hors d'oeuvres, 7 p.m. And I was like, yes. I was just messing with you. You got it. And he was like, uh-huh. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. And I was like, yeah. I was just playing with you. You got it. Okay, see you then. Bye. Click. So bad.
Oh my gosh.
So I will never forget that.
Bring your own knife.
So whenever I see hors d'oeuvres, hors d'oeuvres.
Hors d'oeuvres. Jeez. That's pretty dumb.
It is dumb.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
That is one of Cheney's classic stories that I've probably heard over and over again, and I still sat here giggling the whole time she was telling it.
Now, she cheated because usually when we have our dumb things segment, in which we talk about the dumb things that happen to ourselves, which also most of the time is the dumb things that we do in the world, there's from the previous week.
Yeah, but she's a guest, and so...
I guess, and that's true. Guests can literally do whatever they want.
And that's a classic story.
It is. I really would love to see a children's book, a classic children's book of this tale of Cheney and she would have to be an animal. So what would she be? What would that lovable tramp be?
I think like a baby tiger. Or, she's going to hate me for this. A T-Rex.
She doesn't listen. Cheney the T-Rex.
We joke about Cheney being a T-Rex because she has tiny, short little arms.
Wow, that's fun to make fun of. Can only imagine what Cheney and her friends say about you when you're away.
Probably horrible.
Oh, it's probably they're just
no. It's actually probably not because they're so nice.
Yeah,
and I'm not. No, but can we cut this out?
Sure. Make a note here. Let me make my editing note right here. Cut
cool,
this.
so
Hey, Cameron, cut this out. Okay, I gave myself the signal, so I now know to come back and cut this out.
Okay, that's fine.
What were we saying?
Just things that I'll regret.
Yeah, essentially. So Cheney, Tiny T-Rex, somehow we're going to work that into a children's book. Whatever.
Working at a country club, which is... I really like that.
That's actually a really good idea. Cheney the T-Rex... works at a country club.
And can't pronounce the French words on the menu.
That's true.
This is really coming together in a way that I like, and I hope that I'm the one who gets to illustrate it.
I think you should. Well, no one's going to write it, so the whole project's yours if you want to take it and run.
Sold.
Well, that about does it for this episode of, I'm going to say, Mom Trying and Dad Trying.
Aww.
And tune in next week to see if that's going to be the title of this episode. Or if Amy and I ever gets our pilot podcast off the ground. We get a pilot. We get a pilot pizza podcast. Pizza podcast wouldn't be half bad.
No,
it would essentially just be us going to our favorite pizza place here in Dallas and never trying other pizza places.
Yeah, let's do that.
It could be like, what's that podcast where they just listen to Paul?
The worst idea ever, or the...
There's Till Death Do Us Blart, where they watch, every year they watch Paul Blart Mall Cop, and they never go watch any other movie. That should be a tradition. We're going to have a 1-year podcast. We could do a monthly podcast where we go to our favorite restaurant, Caña Rosso, here in Dallas. Soon to come to Austin and Houston locations. And we just review it.
Again?
Just again and again.
Okay.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Kinda yes-so.
Oh. But it's not like Kanye no-so. Anyway,
no.
That about does it for this week of Unhitched or Dad Trying. Thank you for joining us. And if you want to check out our podcast, I would highly recommend Start in the 20s. Right? What's your favorite episode?
I really have listened to them all and enjoyed all of them, including the first 5. But my favorite is when we did the comic book store with Caitlin.
Comic book, I think that's episode 18 with Caitlin Wagner.
Van Wagner.
And check that out. We go to the world's largest comic book shop with a
I don't know about world.
It's up there, Amy. Don't deny it. We go there with a bunch of crazy Dallas chicks, and they have fun. That's right.
Fun is had.
So if you want to follow me on anything internet related, Cam Carter 2010. If you want to follow Lauren, I'll go ahead and do this, even though she's not here and contributing. Neatos Tweetos on Twitter. If you want to follow her on Instagram, you can follow her at Neateroni, Neateroni. And Amy, your Instagram isn't
inactive?
Okay. Lastly, if you want to just write us an email, we actually have something from our mailbag this week that I was going to read real quick. We don't really get that many emails, maybe one per episode, and we've essentially have gotten rid of our segments due to time. This email comes to us from the lovely Mary Beth Pascal. Sounds familiar. Pulling it up now. It says, "Love this podcast. Sorry you're feeling poorly. I LOL'd many times during this podcast. Sent from my iPhone." Thanks, Mary Beth.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
What a lovely person.
I mean, it probably wasn't for me, but thanks.
Yeah, that's true. I think she's referring to our Sick and Tired episode.
Oh,
my favorite episode. Check that one out. Least downloaded episode. That about does it for this episode of Unhitched or Dad Trying. We will see you next week with probably just us. Bye.
Bye.